welcome to yet another fantastic episode here at Kaluhi'S kitchen. So absolutely no one in the universe asked for this recipe, but I know what you guys need in your life, and that's why I'm doing this meat pie recipe today. I'm going to make it cheesy, meaty, delicious in typical Kaluhi'S kitchen fashion, and you're really going to enjoy this one. Trust me when I say you need this recipe in your life. To my returning subscribers, asante ni sana for being here, and to my new watchers, I know 100% after this video I'm going to earn your subscription. Thank you so much for everyone watching, and that said, let's begin. Karibuni sana. If you've been following me since 2014, you know by now, I've said this a million times, what I studied in university was BCom, Bachelor of Commerce, finance major, but now I'm a food blogger, whatever. So when I was in university, I enjoyed school actually, and I really remember during Wednesday, that was a tight day, especially during fourth year. So during the morning Wednesday, there was double audit from 8:30 to 10:30. Then from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, there was double macroeconomics. So the break between 10:30 and 11:30, I had to get a snack. So maybe it was a samosa, but oftentimes it was a meat pie. The meat pies we have here are mixed with meat and potatoes, but I like mine a lot meatier. That's why for this recipe we're doing exclusively meat, because I like it nice and meaty. And to make it even richer, we're going to add a bit of cheese. To make anything very delicious, you have to start with a full herby base, and as you can see, mine is already prepped and ready to go. So for the herby base, we're going to start with, I'm going to go with some red onion, some chives, some dania stems, and some fresh garlic. All very readily available whichever place you reside. So let's go in with our 4 ingredients. We are now progressing really well, and my kitchen smells fantastic. And that's a clear sign that you're doing things well. I don't think I mentioned this at the very beginning, but before I added my herbs, my sufuria already had some oil and some salt, and because we added salt at the beginning, that's enough for the entire dish. Now that this is done, we are now just going to turn off the heat and then set our herbs aside as we prepare for the next step. So we're going to place them into this bowl. Okay, splendid. And now we're just going to set that aside. We're going to come back to it a bit later. And now I'm going to grab my other bowl. This is my minced beef. It's about half a kilogram. Okay, the exact quantity is written on my blog, but I think it's half a kilogram. We're now going to add it into this same pan. And then we're going to turn the heat back on. And then we're going to go right ahead and cook it until browned. Our beef has now browned. It's now perfectly separate and very fragrant as well. I know some people prefer to boil, but I urge you, get into searing, because the searing takes just under 10 minutes, and it also enhances the flavor of the beef and adds a nice smokiness, something that boiling just cannot achieve. So please always sear your minced beef. It's very simple, very quick, and gets the job done to perfection. So with that done, we're going to add the other ingredients. First in, I'm going to add my tomato paste, followed by a bit of water, and then my spices, curry powder, chili flakes, and some paprika. Everything has now come together very well. As you can see, the color has now deepened. It's now a rich brown, and it also smells very aromatic. And as you can also see, my meat is dry despite adding a bit of water just a few minutes ago. The purpose of that water is to facilitate the cooking down of the spices and the tomato paste, not to add soup. Wadau wenzangu ambao mnapenda soup sana, my brother and sisters who love soup, please go easy on this. You just need a splash of water to facilitate the cooking down of the spices. Don't make a whole ocean planet, please. We're just needing a bit to cook down the spices. Now that this is perfect, beautiful, fragrant, delicious as well, we're now going to add in the herbs we had earlier on seared and then just mix them in. And with our herby base now mixed in, we are nearly done with the filling. As you can see, my motor is now off. When you add your herby mixture, make sure your heat is off because they are already cooked and we don't want them to get further overcooked. So just make sure your heat is off. We're now going to let this cool down for a couple of minutes, not completely cold, but just significantly cooler, because later on we're going to add our cheese and we don't want the cheese to melt at this stage. We want it to remain solid because it will melt once it's in the oven. The cheese that we're going to use is cheddar. Oh, okay, mbona nimefanya hivi? The cheeses we're going to use are cheddar and mozzarella. Cheddar has a nice full flavor to it and mozzarella is nice, stretchy and melty, and combining those two always makes for a fantastic eating experience. Besides meat pies, this exact meat filling can be used for a samosa filling as well. Samosas, I don't know why some people just use plain, boring, boiled meat and just stuff it into a samosa. Don't be afraid of flavor. You can use this one for a samosa, you can use it for your meat pies. Anything that needs to be stuffed, use something that has amazing flavor. So let's wait for this to cool down then to ready later on for the cheese and the pastry. My cheese is now grated, and as I mentioned before, it's a mixture of two, cheddar and mozzarella. Now we need a pastry because we are making meat pies, and because I don't have time to make pastry from scratch, I bought mine and this is the one I used. You can get it in any well-stocked supermarket. I bought mine from Carrefour. I've just opened mine and I've already rolled it out and divided it into my sections. Now a quick review. I've never used this brand. It comes frozen, and if you're keeping some in your freezer, you have to freeze it as well. But before using, you have to allow it to thaw for a minimum of 90 minutes. After mine thawed, the texture is very spongy. It's very, very silky, bouncy. I love the texture. Now the only thing that disappointed me is the size. I thought that it would be a much longer roll. It's a very small roll for the price, so I think that's the only negative. But in terms of texture and the sponginess and the bounciness for a pre-rolled pastry, it's very excellent. But the size, it could be better. Now, because the size of my pastry is a bit small, I'm going to use half of the meat. But if you want to use the entire meat, 500 grams, just make sure you buy 2 or 3 of these. But if you want to use one of these, you need to use half the quantity of meat, which is still fine. You can use, even if you're making the pastry from scratch, you can just freeze the meat. Then in the future, when you have that meat pie craving, or if you have visitors, or if you want to make samosas, just take the meat out, let it thaw, then use it then. Or if you have like an emergency like me, when I have much less pastry than anticipated, just store the rest in your freezer. Then in the future, when you'll have plenty more pastry, take it out, let it thaw, and then proceed as usual. Now that's done, what we're going to do next is we're going to layer our meat and our cheese onto our pastry. Then we're going to fold it, press the edges together, and then paint it with a bit of egg. Paint it. Then we're going to baste it with a bit of whisked egg, and then we're going to bake it for about 20 minutes for for about 20 minutes at about 150 degrees Celsius. Then we're going to conclude and wrap this up. Effortless excellence here at Kaluhi'S kitchen, and you have seen for yourself, it's very easy to make your own meat pies at home. And unja sometimes ukibuy meat pies za nje inaweza kuharibikia tumbo. That's why it's always important to learn how to make things at home, because you are in full control of the hygiene, and even more important, you're in full control of how explosive the flavor shall be. Look at my melty meat pies. Look at how delicious they look. Look at how flaky they look. Kama kawaida, we have to give them a taste test. Chanchukwe here juu. So delicious. I'm sure you had the crunch of the crust as I bit through. This is absolutely perfect. Flavor-wise, everything just explodes in your mouth. You first bite through the crispy crust, and then your teeth sink through the melty cheese, and then it's met by the meat that is so bold in terms of flavor. You can taste the cumin, you can taste the chili, you can appreciate the happiness that we had as part of the first ingredients for this filling, and it's all perfect, and I can't wait for you guys to try this out. The exact recipe quantities I used for this recipe are linked on my blog, link on the description box. Try this out with your friends and family. Perfect for everyone, perfect for all age groups, and I'm sure you're going to really enjoy this one. I hope you loved this video. I hope to see you in my next one as well. Bye guys.